what consulting is perceived by an outsider, that is just 20% of the actual job. I love that 20%, and I sometimes miss that sort of high pressure problem solving and seeing, yourself flourish in a situation where not a lot of people would thrive. So I do miss that, but the other 80% is a very unrewarding work that you have to go through to get to that final 20% of the project. See, I've been doing this mathematics thing for a long time, since I was 13. It's been 14 years now.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I've realized is this is not a subject or a section. This is a life skill. And once you master it, it stays with you forever. This person, this mentor that I have, he walks the talks, and he has done it himself. So he can probably guide me, right? And we have the results to support that. So one of my students, Tanishq, he's my junior from IIT Delhi itself, and he scored 16 marks in QA in his previous attempt. And it goes against all the myth that IITians are supposed to score great in quant. They're not. That's a myth, right? I mentored him. I taught him, and through a combination of that with his hard work, he was able to get 56 in quant this year, right? And he got 99.99 percentile. So there are direct, immediate results to what we are doing.
Hello Divyansh, welcome to Inside IIM.
Hello, hi, how are you?
All good. So again, we had got you on our show because we want to understand your career trajectory, and you have done something different after MBA. You initially started off as a consultant, and then you ventured out doing something entrepreneurial. So yeah, very excited to bring your story on our channel. And for our audience, why don't you introduce yourself?
So hi, I'm Divyansh, and so I went to Kota when I was 13 years old. It was there that I found my love for non-routine mathematics, right? And I cracked 50 national international competitions there, and eventually joined IIT Delhi after securing a rank of 151, which was sort of the target. And I did my BTech in electrical engineering. And after that, I gave CAT. I secured 100% in 2019, and I joined FMS after that. So I was there for 2 years, and I interned at Carney, and I was lucky enough to secure a replacement offer from them. And then I joined Carney. I worked there for 2 years, 1 or 2 months, and after that, I started CAT with them.
Awesome. A couple of things to unpack, but first I want to start with, since from engineering to MBA, you did that shift. At what point did you think that, probably now is the time that I should do my MBA and study further instead of directly getting into it?
One of the key reasons why I did MBA after engineering is, and if I'm being honest, I don't think I really gave engineering a chance because, there are a lot of things that you do when you are in a college in Delhi, right? So you have extracurricular activities, you have a lot of clubs to be a part of. So I was more culturally involved, and I think that was a mistake on my part in retrospect, that I didn't give engineering the full chance. While I was there, so one of the clubs that we had was the We Define Dance Society, which was, it's very popular on YouTube, and we do compete with some of the best dancers who are out there. And I was the managing director there, right? So I did have to manage, studies, managing a team, and the whole dancing thing, within those 24 hours itself. So I think I got the, inspiration to be a manager from there. So then, of course, I decided to do that in a corporate setting. Probably doing an MBA would be the right choice.
Looking at your journey, I see you as a very introspective person. And I also wanted to ask you, since you had that experiences in your engineering days, what are some things probably you learned about yourself which helped you to, really make the most of your FMS journey?
All right. So one of the things that I learned while I was in IIT Delhi itself was, you can't solve for all the problems. So whatever, thing it is that you are involved in, you should always be prioritizing. It can be as simple as, assembling an IKEA furniture, and could be as complicated as, some consulting project itself. So you do need to develop that knack of prioritizing things in the right order, right? You have this 80-20 rule, which I later realized that that's what it's called. But then I realized that this is something I've been implementing for a long time now. So that is one of the most important factors, right? And then the other way is, of course, how you go about that problem itself. So if you can find ways to creatively, cut corners while not affecting the quality, then that is, of course, the best thing you can do for everyone in the team.
Whenever I speak to alumni from B schools, they always speak very highly of the experiences that they gathered in the B school, right? So whenever I talk to them, first of all, they feel very nostalgic, and second, they can recall a lot of experiences. Now, retrospecting in their career, they think these things that they did right probably is helping them now or yielding them results now slowly. Can you share some anecdotes of what you just discussed in motion?
As I said, I didn't give engineering a chance. So, that was something I didn't want to repeat at all. So when I joined FMS, I had this, focus that I want to learn. I'm not here just for the job. I actually want to study, because I didn't do that in the previous college as much as I would have liked. So I did do that, and I was in the top 5% of the batch. It's called the Dean's Roll of Honor. I was part of that. And again, I didn't want to do that at the cost of, not being culturally involved as well. So I wanted to find the right balance, and I think I did. So I was the General Secretary of FMS in my second year. And it is sort of a big deal because FMS is a student-run campus, right? So everything from placement to any infrastructure change is done by the student body itself. So I was the general secretary of that said society there, and it was a truly challenging yet very rewarding experience. I had to talk to vendors. We organized an event called FMS Forum, in which we had Dia Mirza as a guest. We had a lot of reputed guests there. So the experiences were diverse, and I think that is something which is helping me now, because a lot of character development happened in a very short period of time.
I've been to FMS Delhi. Of course, I went there for shoots, and I saw people there are so diverse. You did not feel like an outsider there because you were a fresher, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
In FMS, so having people with very much different experiences or much more experiences than you at that point, did you ever feel intimidated, or did you feel that probably should have worked a little more before getting into a B school?
So I think the perspective is the key there in this particular factor. So I went in FMS with the mindset that I want to learn, and through any avenue that I can find. And one of the biggest avenue is peer learning. It's not just a jargon word; it's actually very real. And I feel lucky that I had access to some friends now that had 2-3 years of experience in the industries that I would have liked to join at that point in time. So I didn't feel intimidated. Obviously, there are certain things where you do feel like there is some knowledge gap and they sort of have a leg up. But I think it goes vice versa also, because once you've been a part of an industry, and even if you do an MBA, so there is sort of a trade-off there. So as a fresher, the idea is everyone considers you as an impressionable young mind. So each company, while they seek people who have work experience, but they also seek these sort of people who they can hone, they can shape from the very beginning.
Wanted to take a segue into your first job after FMS, right? You went into Carney.
Yes.
And the notion is that without having good CGPA and work experience, it's not very easy to get into Carney as your first job, right? What did you do different?
So a couple of things. First of all, it is sort of a myth. I mean, there is some truth and some lie in that. If you have a consistent profile, across your life, from starting from your 10th till the time you sit for the interviews, you increase your chances. However, that is not the only thing they look for. Consistency just tells them that you are a person who can, continue to deliver those consistent results. So I personally had no work experience. I had a CGPA of 6.5 in IIT Delhi, right? So it was not a very consulting profile, and I myself thought so. And as a result of which, for the first 1 month or so, I didn't even prepare for consulting because I didn't think I had a shot. But you sort of can make up for things, that you might have messed up previously. So I think the 100 percentile thing helped there. It sort of made up for the 6.5 CGPA, and then of course I'm a CFA level 2. I've cleared CFA level 2, so that also sort of helped me. So consulting companies look for spikes. They look for consistency, but they also look for spikes. So if you have something missing, which in my case would have been a 9 CGPA, I made up for that in the other two avenues like CAT and CFA.
Awesome. And do you like consulting right from the get-go?
So it is sort of a mixed experience because what consulting is perceived by an outsider, that is just 20% of the actual job. I love that 20%, and I sometimes miss that sort of high pressure problem solving and seeing yourself flourish in a situation where not a lot of people would thrive. So I do miss that, but the other 80% is a very, you know, unrewarding work that you have to go through to get to that final 20% of the project, which is where, you know, the actual consulting skills can be applied. So this 80% that I'm talking about is usually at the, you know, start and mid of the project. And see, the thing is, every new project is like you working for a new company, because you have different set of people, you have different clients, different partners, different team also, right? So it happens a lot, this 80% thing. And the startup phase of any project, it's a very, you know, blue ocean thinking. It's a very uncharted territory. You don't know, you know, a lot. You might not even know what the problem is, so you first have to figure out what the problem is, which is what they hired you for, right? So that part, the initial part of that, where you have to understand, you know, the company, the data, it is sort of, you know, not that rewarding. Again, high risk, very little, you know, reward. You are expected to do that correctly, but once you do, then when the magic happens, when you actually, you know, end up identifying the problems, it's very rewarding. You see the look on the client's face when you know, suggest them this is the problem and this is the potential solution. I mean, that's priceless.
Awesome. That one word, uncharted territory, it stuck with me.
Yeah.
So your career after that also has been something like that, right? So you figured things on your own. But wanted to ask you a couple of things. Did you always have that entrepreneurial brunt, or did it develop in the B school or in the initial job that you were pursuing?
This entrepreneurial, mindset actually came from talking to a lot of friends who started off as me, you know, friends from IIT Delhi, friends from FMS, who started off as me and then switched to something that was of their own. And, one of the things they would tell me is, whatever work that I'm doing here, it is all me. The reward is mine and the risk is mine. So it is a very high risk, high reward sort of situation. And I would like to identify someone who thrives in that sort of situation. So I think that is one of the reasons why I took the leap.
Right. Did you have that risk appetite? Because leaving consulting, which is rewarding in its own way, monetarily, taking that plunge when you're already probably doing well for yourself, and at that point thinking of getting into an uncharted territory and again figuring things out on your own. How did that happen? We just wanted to understand your decision making process, and how did that plunge happen from A to B?
So there are two reasons probably why I made the switch from consulting to something of my own. One of the things is, I learned this early on, that if you want to, see if this particular path is for me, you should probably look at some people who have been doing that for a while and try to imagine, is that the sort of life you think you can accept for the rest of your life, right? And I try to do that in consulting, and I don't think I would thrive in that sort of setting for a very long horizon, right? So 2-3 years is fine. You all have to pay your share, of your hard work. But I don't see myself doing that for a very long time. That is reason one. I didn't see any role model I would like to mimic as a, as a life for me to live.
Understood.
The other part is, while I was doing consulting, I tried to find venues, where I could, after a long 14-15 hour work day, I could come back home and tell myself that this is something only you could have done. Over the course of 2 years, I think I must have found like a couple of those experiences, and which honestly didn't sit well with me. So, if I have to settle, I will settle, but not without first putting up the fight. So this is me putting up the fight.
And how were the initial days? And was this the first idea that you worked on and that eventually became successful, or?
So after consulting, right?
Things? Yes.
So this was the first idea, because see, this is something I love. I love mathematics, right? And I've been loving it since I was 13. So it is an idea I love, and I love to teach. And this is an interesting space. The cat ecosystem. It's an interesting space because you get to teach people who might not have had that sort of exposure to mathematics. So the thing that I said, the consulting companies look out for impressionable young minds.
Yes.
That is something I also try to look for. So I particularly like to teach those people, who are probably from non-engineering backgrounds, because they are very impressionable.
I was pretty sure once you took that decision that I'll quit Carney and then I'll start my own venture, initial months were for sure you had to put in a lot more efforts to get the ball rolling. Did you never felt, I mean, I'm sure you felt the lows and the uncertainty of not having that salary hit your bank account every single month.
Yeah.
How did you power through the initial days, and what was your north star that kept pushing you ahead?
As you correctly mentioned, see, once you start working, you sort of develop this idea of a routine. And if something doesn't fit that, you sort of then define that day as a bad day, right? And consulting is not a routine job, but to survive it, you sort of have some routine of your own where you start to feel that this portion of my day is my own. So I claimed that for myself, right? So I had that going on for me. There was some stability, some routine, some structure to my life, how it was. And then when I took this, jump to start something of my own, so that routine went out of the window. There's no blueprint for this, what we are doing.
Right.
You don't get to one day wake up and say, I want to teach and, just succeed like we have till now. So, the challenge itself was what excited me, because then again it brought back that idea ki maybe this is something only we can do. So that is the North Star. That is the that inherent belief that this is something that if someone can do, that's me. That's going to be me. So that sort of confidence. Again there was there were lows, but there was not a lot of risk, right? Because one of the benefits of being an alum of Carney is that if you want to go back in corporate, there are a lot of people who would want you. So I had that safety net for me, but then of course, still I didn't want to fail in this venture. So we put a lot of effort, me and my colleague Rishi Moyak, we put in a lot of efforts into this. And there was a lot of innovative thinking how we can revolutionize an industry where people are pretty set in their ways. You have a similar sort of same course you keep floating on. So how do you change that? And see, I prepared for CAT on my own, right? So there was some learnings there which I wanted to structure in a rewarding way for others. So that was the whole motive.
Wow. Okay. Perfect. And just curious to know, once you start something new, how did you try to, since you spoke about people were set in their own ways, so what did you try to bring novelty, or did you try to bring what was your own flavor to the problem that you were trying to solve?
See, I've been doing this mathematics thing for a long time, since I was 13. It's been 14 years now.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I've realized is this is not a subject or a section. This is a life skill. And once you master it, it stays with you forever. And you do end up using it in a lot of different situations, corporate or personal life. You do, end up using it. And one of the things that I personally don't like about this industry so far is there's a lot of focus on, rote learning. Memorize 67 formulas for geometry and then you can solve any questions. And I mean that's a very blanket statement to make, right? If I say you do 10,000 questions and you will ace CAT, then what is the value of me as an instructor? Because then that's all you.
Yeah.
My job here is to cut down the 10,000 to a reasonable number and make sure that whatever it is that you have learned, you are able to do that in the 40 minutes high pressure situation. And I think that is the sort of value addition I do for my students. One of the examples would be Kushal, right? So he was able to thrive in that high pressure situation, and the result is there in the very first year itself.
Since there were already industry veterans doing this, initially, how confident did you feel doing what you wanted to do? And plus, I wanted to tie this point back. You wanted to do something that only you can probably do, right?
Yeah.
So how is this a good fit?
The solution to this was we need to get the results and we need to get that fast, right? So that is the one thing. Now the way we as a team function, we have each of our sections and all of us had been students in the recent past itself. So I didn't join any coaching institution. I just took a test series. So I prepared on my own. I did my whole, hustle to get to this 100 percentile thing. So I think I have that view of what it takes to, get to a great percentile, right? So that is one thing. This is a sort of skill that people pick up on.
Got it.
this is a thing serious candidates come to appreciate, that this is someone students pick up on, that this person, this mentor that I have, he walks the talks, and he has done it himself, so he can probably guide me, right? And we have the results to support that. So one of my students, Tanishq, he's my junior from IIT Delhi itself, and he scored 16 marks in QA in his previous attempt. And it goes against all the myth that IITians are supposed to score great in quant. They're not. That's a myth, right? I mentored him, I taught him, and through a combination of that with his hard work, he was able to get 56 in quant this year, right? And he got 99.99 percentile. So there are direct, immediate results to what we are doing, right? And which is one of the reasons why we also are going to launch a personal mentorship program soon, because we see that value, because we can take people from wherever they are to that final top 100, top 200 sort of situation. We can do that. There is proof of concept. We just need to marry the two things, dedication on the student's part and expertise on our part, and then it can be done.
Curious to know one more thing. How do you go about approaching teaching students who don't come from probably quant or English heavy pedagogy?
So the thing is, because it's an aptitude test, you have to approach it in layers. You have to approach it in multiple sprints. So what I personally do is I have divided the course in 4 different phases. Phase 1 is where we master all the concepts for all the topic. We go through all the topics. We spend most amount of time here. Basically, we build the foundation on which we'll build our pyramid. Right. So that is phase 1. In-depth understanding, but starting from the very basics. So we go to the very depth of that topic, within the context of CAT syllabus, but we start from the beginning. So, just so that people who don't have that background don't feel left out. That is one. The second thing is, now CAT, because it is not marketed as an exam for people who are from engineering background. So they do have to, find innovative ways to make the questions harder without expanding the syllabus. So how they do that is the way they communicate information within the problem statement, that constantly changes. And that is something you need to as an aspirant be on top of, because once you develop the foundation, you just need to understand what is being asked, what they have given me, which I have to use, and finally what is the answer. So how to get from step 2 to 3 we have dealt with in the phase 1. But the phase 2 would be to understand the exam maker psychology, how they are going to, trick you sort of to make mistakes or to get confused. So that is phase 2. I call it topic dissection. Within the context of each topic, I touch upon these things that they can do this. So we have an open discussion in the class. I tell them that, for this particular concept, these are the changes that they can make. And some student can come up, sir, can they do this also? So it's a very free-flowing discussion. The idea of this thing is that, you have a mentor, you have a teacher who can answer all doubts, all queries, whatever intrusive thought you have. So that's something I encourage in the classes. Phase 3 is obviously the marriage of phase 1 and phase 2. So your foundations plus understanding and how to solve the questions. You marry that in the form of, a crash course sort of thing where, revise everything. But you use both of the learning from both of the phases. And the final thing is, giving mocks, analyzing, testing the field, understanding how your stamina is. It's a very underrated skill. To be able to continuously meet your potential for a duration of 2 or 3 hours. Right. So that's what we do.
It's been a lovely conversation, but on ending notes, I have a couple of more questions to ask. This will be our rapid fire round where I ask a question and you answer it again. Impromptu and like under 30 seconds probably. If it goes longer, it's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Right. Number one is there is this myth that logic can't be taught or trained, or there's only there is some cap to it, like only this amount of probably you can improve in this particular time duration. Is that true?
So CAT is an aptitude exam. You do need aptitude, but the good news is that is the sort of aptitude that you can build, and in a relatively short time frame. One example, Tanishq, my student, he had a score around 70 in his previous attempt, and he scored around 140 plus in this attempt. So he doubled his score. So by increasing his aptitude. Yes.
Lovely. Biggest I know it's most used and most searched thing on Google also, But if you want to debunk like biggest cat myth, what will that be?
So the biggest cat myth, in my opinion, is that it is the only thing you should focus on in the run up to it. So I personally feel it is not one of those exams. You don't need to sacrifice things. One of the things people ask a lot is, should I quit my job to prepare for CAT? No, you should not, because once you are done with CAT, it is a hurdle that you have to cross. The real thing is your what PI thing, which is a summation of your life. You can't, intentionally create gaps in your life when you go to the what PI thing. So CAT is a hurdle, treated like that. You have to be mentally stable in the exam, because you can't afford to be emotional in those 2 hours.
Beautiful answer. Wanted to end this on a fun note. What is your most prized possession?
So legally, I'm required to say it's this ring, but actually it's my PS5.
I think everybody can relate to this. Yeah. Perfect. On that note, thank you so much, Divyansh, for doing this. Really enjoyed our conversation, and I hope people will take a lot of nuggets of information and actionable steps that they can apply in their life and their CAT future.
Sure. Happy to help.
Guys, if you like this episode, please do let us know in the comments below. Also, there is the link in the description that speaks more about CAT with M. Please do check that out. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to comment down in the video. We'll make sure that they get answered by Divyansh. Meanwhile, this is Seth from Team Inside IIM signing off.